And welcome back to Times Square today. I'm your host, Bob Guinea, and joining me today, and I'm very excited about this, Dahryn Trivedi.
Yes.
Yes, I nailed it.
Yes.
Dahryn, we are here in the heart and soul of Times Square. I mean, this is the epicenter of where so much magic happens in our country, in the world. I mean, look at this place. Look at this energy, right? How does this make you feel, sitting up here with all of this going on behind you?
I feel alive.
Yeah.
I feel so full of hope and wonder and just awe.
That's
I love
amazing.
New York.
I do too.
I love New York.
Where do you live?
I live in Dallas, Texas.
Oh, I love it there too.
Me too.
I love it there too. Is this your first time in New York?
No, I used to live here.
No kidding.
Yeah.
When?
Uh,
Because I did too.
back in 2011.
Okay, so I was Upper West Side.
Oh, nice.
Where-
I lived Lispenard Street.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a great area.
It is.
So what brought you to New York at that time?
My husband.
Okay.
So
Very nice.
I married him in 2011, and
Yeah.
he already had a home here and everything. We had multiple homes over the United States, and so I kind of traveled with him.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's a great place to visit and live for me. I love living here. So Dahryn, I know that divine embodiment is a part of what you do and what you present to people that work with you. Tell me why, and tell me how that came to be your spiritual guide.
I mean, divine embodiment, I feel like it's the ultimate goal of every human being. We are all created by the divine, right? And so the whole point is for us to evolve our consciousness to the point where we can reunite with
Right.
that source of all creation. And that is also the source of our health, our well-being. It's a source of quality of life. And a lot of people don't know that. They often associate it with simply a spiritual journey
Right.
or something esoteric or faith-based. And that's what makes our organization different, is it's a very scientifically outcome-oriented organization, a nonprofit organization that focuses on science
Yep.
instead of faith and process.
Yeah.
And so we're actually one of the first organizations of its kind to have such an incredible and empirical, foundational, evidence-based, extensive scientific research database on the existence of consciousness, what happens when you evolve your consciousness to the level of enlightenment, and what that means and how you can transform the lives of other people through that consciousness.
Oh my gosh. I love that.
Yeah.
Now, do you feel like this is something you were born with? Or do you feel like this was a calling for you? And how did you arrive in the place that you're at right now? Because I know I was reading a little bit about you, and it said that you have the rare gift of being able to not only take living matter and turn it into something a whole lot better, but also, the world around us, the things that might not have from atomic energy, for example, and things of that nature. Was this something you were born with? Did you just know this was your path?
Well, I would say from a very young age, I had this inner knowing, this inner calling to divine. I actually had a lot of what I would call a direct experience with the divine,
Okay.
a spiritual experience, and it wasn't founded in a particular religion. I was kind of involved in like Christianity as well as some yoga practices and things like that, but it didn't come from there. It was just kind of like an inherent moment,
Yeah.
right? Where these sporadically happened, where I just had this altered state of consciousness, where I entered into this deep, incredible stillness and silence. And from that place came an incredible bliss that I couldn't even describe to you. But it was
Pure
like
joy.
it's beyond happiness,
Wow.
beyond happiness.
That's
And
magical.
it was just an understanding, a complete knowing this is God,
Yeah.
right? And it was just so full of love and joy and just peace. It was for the first time where I felt like there's no problem, nothing else existed. It was just me and God in that moment.
Oh my
Not even
gosh.
me and God, just God.
Right.
And so those moments would happen on occasion throughout my childhood growing up, into my adulthood. And it gave me a sense that, I was here not just to live an ordinary life, but I was here for God. That was my drive, and my purpose was to reunite and connect with God. That was all I wanted. It got so deep that whenever I didn't have that experience, as this kind of soul sickness, this loneliness started growing in me, and it made me kind of more depressed. Ironically, even
Yeah.
though I had these incredible experiences, the longing got worse
Oh, wow.
because I was like just waiting for the next moment. And so
Right.
that gave me a sense of a deeper purpose. But when things really changed is when I was around 8 years of age.
Okay.
And around 8 years of age, I had another experience like that in which I kind of saw from Divine. Divine showed me that there was a man that I was going to meet in my life who had an incredible gift, right? Who was an embodiment of this divine consciousness that I yearned for, that I seeked for.
Right.
And so my whole purpose, my whole point was to wait. That I had to wait to meet this man, and that's when, right, my real shift would happen. That's when my journey would really start to begin.
Right.
And so I didn't know when it would happen. I was never told that. I just had a sense that it would happen.
Right.
And so I led my life waiting to that moment. And finally, I met that man, Guruji Dahryn Trivedi, and I ended up marrying him. He ended up becoming my husband and my guru. And he evolved my consciousness through his own divine blessings to the point in which I became enlightened in 2012. And now I can do similar things to what he does, where I can also bless people and transform their consciousness for a better quality of life.
That is magical.
Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you.
Crazy that you had this calling at such a young age and were able to understand it,
Yeah.
right? Because I'm sure people will have an experience like that, but probably never be able to digest what it even means, right? Or be able to manifest it into what you have.
I feel like a lot of society, we don't have like a reference point
Right.
for these experiences. And especially people who might not be a part of a religion or spirituality, right? These experiences still happen
Right.
because they're not psychological and they're really not faith-based. They're not taught to you. They're not nurtured into you. It's something that truly does happen, and a lot of people aren't aware of it, right? Just
Don't
like an
recognize it.
incredible moment of feeling connected or feeling joyous or feeling good well-being, and they don't know where it comes from. They just know one day they wake up and they feel great.
You're right.
And the next moment they're laughing, the next moment they're crying, right?
You're right.
They have no control over it, but it seems like something else is in charge, right? And so they don't know what that is.
Yeah. And
But
when
it
you
happens
recognize it, you can take it to the next level like you have.
Exactly.
Now, do
If
you
you can
think,
properly foster it, you can take it to new heights you never even conceived of before.
right. Sky's the limit in those circumstances, I would imagine.
Absolutely.
Now, would you say that your travels have kind of given you a lot of different perspectives? I mean, I read that you've been to over 30 countries and
Yeah.
done all these amazing travels. Is that where you get kind of your different perspective as well, is just sort of seeing how different cultures and different religions and different people exist and how they live, and you kind of have this reference point from that?
It definitely helps. I feel like traveling, everybody should travel at some point in time. It gives you perspective. It makes you more grateful for what you have, especially if you're coming from a place like America or a first world country.
Yeah.
But I also feel like it gives you a great sense of the deep suffering that exists and is pervasive amongst all people. One of them being the mental and emotional health epidemics,
Yeah.
right? That's kind of controlling everybody right now. And that's where we really thrive. Because if you look at it, science doesn't really have an answer,
Right.
right? Science limits a human to just a brain and a body or a mind and the body. And science hasn't gone into the nature of the soul really. And there hasn't been a lot of empirical or, data relevant evidence to support a foundation for the soul being something that can be proven and real.
Yeah.
So science ignores it.
Right.
Right. And as a result, you see, when science ignores that vital part that actually makes wellness happen, it's the very force that controls and operates your mind.
Yeah.
Right. We know the mind-body connection, but science doesn't know where the mind originates or how it operates.
Right. Right.
Right. We still can't even map out one human brain.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what we've seen is that it's actually consciousness or the soul, the spirit that programs the mind. Right. So that gives you the governance or the control to command your thoughts, to give you that sense of peace.
Yeah.
Right? When it's out of control, when you don't empower the soul, right? The only solution to control the mind is to empower the soul.
Right.
And there's no trick, there's no tactic, there's no practice or technique that can empower the soul.
Yeah.
Right? The only thing that can do that is the grace of God, is having that connection with God in your life.
And acceptance, I would imagine too, right? Allowing yourself to be open to that.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the way you speak about it too. You can tell how passionate you are, and I think that really can be transformative for people, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Can you give me an example of someone who's come to you and you've been able to kind of help them find themselves and find that divine embodiment?
Yeah. We had a woman with severe PTSD and emotional trauma, and it was from a very painful relationship. She had a very abusive partner.
Ugh.
And it was abusive by all means, controlling, dominating, neglecting, even abusing verbally, financially, emotionally, whatever you can name.
Right.
Right? And she actually came to us through another client of ours. That's how we get most of our clients, because we've done very little marketing in the past.
Right.
Right? And we've been waiting for our clinical trials in order to start our media tour, our media journey.
Sure.
And so this other client, because of their own journey and their own experience with this, right, they brought this other woman in, and she was suffering from like panic attacks, mental restlessness, ADD, ADHD. She is depressed and just every possible, mental problem you could think of. She was just suffering incredibly so. No hope, no inspiration, no motivation. She just felt like there's no possible future for her. And she tried everything.
Yeah.
She tried counseling. She tried conventional models of treatment. She tried even the, alternative and complementary models.
Yeah.
She tried energy healing. She tried Reiki. She literally anything you could think of. She tried it all, and nothing worked.
Yeah.
right? It gave her maybe a temporary moment of relief, and then it came right back again,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
And so, from my perspective, ever since my enlightenment, I've been, using these divine blessings to empower the soul. Because from what I see is that darkness is just the absence of light. Darkness doesn't exist,
Yeah.
right? There's no such thing as darkness. It's just an absence of something.
Right.
In the same way, all the problems you see that are so rampant and prevalent today, it's the absence of something as well.
Right.
It's the absence of higher consciousness, or we could say divine light,
Okay.
right?
I love that.
And
Yeah.
so knowing that all we need to do is empower the soul, right? To evolve her to higher states of consciousness, and naturally on its own, through her own connection to God, all these problems will go away,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
We don't need to do anything. She doesn't need to meditate or say a mantra. It's in the same way like when you plant a tree, right? And if it's in the right environment, if it has the right soil, if you water it and give it sunlight, the growing happens on its own.
Right.
It's the right environment. The plant doesn't need to meditate or chant anything or read a book. It doesn't need any of those practices
Sure.
to be able to achieve that,
Right.
right? It's simply connecting to the light, connecting to the earth, and then it thrives,
Right. Yeah.
right? And so these divine blessings is just like that. It's the right environment for the soul to thrive and grow. And as a result, it was still just a few months of blessing her. And after those few months, she made a complete 180.
Wow.
Her emotional trauma just dissipated.
Amazing.
It was gone. And she was full of hope and inspiration, full of life. She felt purposeful in her life. She had a vision of the future that was positive. Like she was no longer suffering from mental restlessness, calm, still, quiet mind. No more trauma. The memory was there, but the trauma, the emotional behind it was no longer there anymore.
Gosh.
And
I bet
so
the hope
she was
she
at
felt
peace.
was just amazing.
It was, and she's
Yeah.
still our client because for her, this is like life to her. She doesn't want to leave it because it's like it adds a new dimension, a new profound level of well-being that she didn't even think could exist. So
love
she's
it.
still our client today.
That's
and-
beautiful.
And this is the problem with 70% of the women that come to us,
No kidding.
right? That trauma, that, emotional suppression, I would say, is really a huge factor in all of this mental and emotional trauma that these women are facing, which is
Yeah.
why they're not thriving and growing,
Right.
which is why I've spent the last 13 years doing this, helping these women to grow and thrive. And the people that come to us stay with us
I love that.
because there's outcome.
Right. Well, yeah, and it's a different outcome than medication or any of that kind of stuff you
Exactly.
give them. It's actually, you're giving people hope. You're
Well,
giving
even
people
more
hope
than
and
that.
focus and purpose.
Even more than that, because what really differentiates us from anybody else is our science.
Yeah.
It's really for the first time ever. Like you hear all these other modalities and treatments, and a lot of people, that's a huge misconception that people have about us,
Right.
is that, with the moment I talk about what we do, people put us in two categories,
Right.
right? They either assume that we're, an energy healer, or they're like, oh yeah, I have a Reiki master, or I do acupuncture.
Sure.
Right? And they feel like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I do the same thing, or I have the same experience. And I don't want to discredit that. I feel like it's very good, but it's
Right.
like a hammer versus an atomic bomb.
Right.
That's the difference in terms of the scientific outcome. Most of the clinical trials and science behind those methods are usually very trivial. They usually just measure things like blood pressure, give you a questionnaire to answer,
Yeah.
right? It could easily be attributed to psychological influence.
Sure.
And ours is the first that it's empirical. We're talking about neurotransmitter levels, hormones. We're talking about, like the clotho things that typically don't have any psychological impact.
Right.
And we have double-blind, placebo-controlled, randomized clinical trials. So this is beyond the effects of psychology. This is even in comparison to psychological impact. And the data, like with our NIH Toolbox for Cognitive and Motor Function, we have very significant results. Most people use it just to measure adverse results. We have very significant impacts that has been unheard of in the realm of clinical trials.
Well, I think the placebo effect obviously is something that's huge, and you can actually compare those things and see that there's a cognitive difference. There's a significant difference. Makes you a huge difference. Yeah, that's a differentiator for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I could talk to you about this all day. I love your passion for it. You can feel the energy that you have for this, and I'm sure that our world could be a whole lot better place if you had the opportunity to heal more people and actually give them that opportunity to feel that joy and that divine sense of being. And so I'm fascinated by it. I know our viewers will be as well. How can they get a hold of you? How can they find out more information about what you do? How can they schedule time with you? How would they do that?
Everything's available on our website, divineconnection.org. I mean, we have all of our science. We have all our peer-reviewed publications there, 6,500 science studies. You can read all of them through our website. If you want to reach out to us, you can contact us, through email or client services phone number. And we have programs available, memberships. It's a nonprofit organization, so all the funds and everything go to further this work and promoting, the foundation of consciousness is the true, source of well-being in our lives.
Fantastic.
So,
No, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much for doing this work, for bringing this vision to more people. I think a lot of people could benefit from this. Our world would be such a better place,
I agree.
wouldn't it? Oh my gosh. Well, I love it. I know our viewers will as well. Thank you so much for watching us right here at Times Square today, and we'll be back.